felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Welcome in to the Husker Women's Basketball Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Nebraska women's basketball falls to Ohio State 80-70 out in Columbus, Ohio. Number 21 Ohio State. Nebraska fought valiantly, had a big lead, or had a pretty strong lead in the second quarter, saw that evaporate right before halftime, and couldn't really pull any closer than about 7 points. Ohio State flexing their muscles, one of the hottest teams in the country. I'm Rico, joined by DP. DP, how are you?
I'm good. I'm trying to figure out what this thing was doing to do. So, watching this team find its roots, it kind of find its balance, and then a 40 to 24 run in the middle of the game, where they were just out-muscled, out-positioned, outworked, and most importantly, they were out-executed. Ohio State was just better at making the play. Nebraska was in place to make the play. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they were in place, but they just didn't get the play made.
They were playing some tough defense for a while, but there were some instances where Ohio State's the plays Ohio State were running were perfect for getting out of the Nebraska defense and getting some open shots. There were a couple times where Ohio State's center, I'm not even going to try and say her last name because they were saying it on the broadcast. I can't say it, so I'm not even going to try. Unless you try it?
Makula Shikova.
Yeah, she the first half at least Nebraska was leaving her open to shoot the threes, and against Iowa, she was hitting those. So I don't understand exactly why they would leave her open, but she hit 3 threes, and Nebraska finally started playing tougher defense. And when they did that, they kind of ran to their point guard and were just nailing threes all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to be finite in the difference between the two teams tonight was that Ohio State made its threes and Nebraska didn't. You could also say that we kind of got a little bit of a preview from Ashley that they felt like they had a mismatch inside in the paint. Of course, Ohio State stepped up. They're going to try to take away those things. Mm-hmm. And it looked like, I mean, from the broadcast vantage, to go 10 of 11 of 30 from on layups. That means one, highly contested. The game was moving too fast for Nebraska to be able to finish. Like, finishing is just a common thing that, look, I'm on time, I'm in place, I can just make the play. Nebraska was rushing some of those finishes, and it showed. I mean, 11 of, at one point it was 10 for 27. I think it finished 11 of 30 on just being able to finish layups. So,
they were leaving everything short. They were hitting the front of the rim or not even hitting the rim at all. There were they airballed a couple of threes. It seemed as if at some points they were a little too juiced up, and then in others they couldn't really get their legs underneath them. Like, there were a couple layups where I think they were expecting contact, didn't get as much as they thought they were going to get, and left it short.
I'll say this. As a coach, you tend to pay attention to the legs of your team on the road. And we saw this weekend at Maryland the same problem, that they were trying to find their legs. Look, I believe 70% of the Huskers' games so far have been at home. So learning to go on the road is important. It is a learning process. You've got to figure out, okay, How much rest do I need? Am I sleeping at the same level? It's a change of schedule. So your normal at home schedule for game days and practices and such. When you go on the road, you got to change what you do. And until you learn how to do that, I mean, you remember you're relying on a lot of new players. You've got to learn how to travel in the Big Ten. It is a big deal. And Amy Williams' staff, they know that. They know that this group has to figure out what's going to be required of them on the road in the Big Ten. And again, you got to go to Champaign, Illinois. And in a situation where you should have some advantage, they're going to go straight from Columbus to Champaign and just hang out there. Maybe that helps you acclimate yourself a little bit better. But young players in the wall portion of the season, and this is where young players hit the wall, because now there's tape on you. Like now there's game tape on you on what you like to do. With Moriarty, they seem to beat her to spots sometimes because they know what she wants to do. They know what Allison Wagner wants to do now. Remember, they didn't know that 2 weeks ago.
No.
Those things were unknown. And you don't know the work ethic of Alexa Markowski 3 weeks ago. Now, it doesn't really help you, but she's even hitting the wall because she's finding resistance in spaces that she didn't normally do it. Now, mind you, 23 points, 15 rebounds. And a lot of that is the Moses Malone, hey, I missed the layup, I put it back.
I'm going to put it back up. Yeah.
But strong Markowski simply catches and puts it back up on the glass with some finesse. Now she's rushing and they're pushing. There's some resistance. There's maybe a forearm to the back. Maybe there's a knee to knee. And these are players who understand how quickly they need to get off the floor now when Markowski's down in the paint.
Oh, yeah, they understand. She keeps it high. When she gets the board, she doesn't bring it down. She just goes straight back up with it. And you saw that a couple of times where she would go straight back up with it. She would miss it. She'd get it back. And especially in that fourth quarter when they were trying to make that comeback, Michigan had 3 people around her. She missed 2 shots, got her own board, tried to go back up with it, and the last time she got blocked.
Well, I mean, look, Theory played probably her most consistent type of game. For her, that's her impact level. That's how she wants to impact. Look, Mike Sell was on. Like there's certain nights where if that's Jazz Shelley, we've seen those nights where Jazz is just on and there's nothing the opponent can do. The nights when Ashley's on and there's nothing the opponent can do. But this falls into a situation where now Nebraska's not going to surprise anybody. Nobody's going to let Nebraska come in their building and let Nebraska sneak a win. That's not going to happen. So they're going to defend in space. They're going to run them off the 3-point line. And a big factor that I'm going to look at going forward is Nebraska's mid-range game will determine how far they go in this season. Because teams know they can shoot the 3. And teams know that they're a problem in the paint. It's the mid-range game where Nebraska has opportunity to do well. And tonight they didn't shoot well in the mid-range, and that affected them. Again, they shot 33%, 34% from the field. We know this. Ashley goes 2 of 9. Jazz goes 3 of 12. Hybe goes 0 for 6. Yeah,
you're not going to win. Night. You're not going to win many games when Jazz Shelley and Sam Hybe are 3 of 18.
Well, I mean, but that's 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
That's 2 games in a row on the road against high-level defensive teams in the Big Ten. Like, let's not lose sight of it. Ohio State's not the most skilled team in the Big Ten. They may be the most physical team in the Big Ten, and that says a lot coming off of Maryland and Indiana, right? That the top third of the Big Ten in the women's class these are physical teams. I was physical. Indiana's physical. Maryland's physical. Michigan is physical. And the difference is when Nebraska gets those teams on the road, the crowd is inciting the physicality and it's changing the way the games are being played. So, look, the numbers for what you can. Let's give the good news again. Markowski, 23 points, 9 of 17 from the field, 15 rebounds to go along with that. She got in foul trouble early, which changes the way she plays, also changes the way she defends. Don't miss that. Like people will worry about how it affects her offensively. No, her being in foul trouble was affecting the way she defended, which allowed the Ohio State bigs to kind of get off a little bit and get going.
Normally, she steps in front of people when they're driving, or she stays, right next to people. But once she got in that foul trouble, she got that fourth foul. You saw her kind of. You don't want her to. You still want her to play aggressive, but at the same time, she realizes she needs to stay in the game. She's sagging off a little bit because she knows they're going to try and get her to foul them.
Yeah, it changes her game from a physical game to it makes her a dancer now. She's got great feet, but around the rim offensively, she was trying not to post up and position up. She was missing some of that. You could see the difference in the way she was defending, but it also the way it affected offensively. Jazz Shelley battled, scraped, scarred to get 14 points. She was 3 of 12 from the floor. 1 of 5 from 3. Now, her 5 assists and her steals are there. The turnovers on this thing is just look. That's going to be the playbook against Nebraska going forward. Yeah. We're going to listen. We're not going to let them get into their system. It's kind of think of it from a volleyball standpoint. If that team can get you out of service, if they can get you outside of what you normally do, then you have a better chance to win. Well, teams are like, listen, even if we don't trap well, we need to trap Nebraska to get them out of sync and get them out of rhythm and to get their shooters out of their normal spots. Because what happens is it takes Ashley out of position. It takes Jazz out of position. It takes Sam out of position because they've got to run press break. Their ability to transition from press break into offense is a thing that they're still working on and still learning. They'll have to. I think they'll be fine.
You saw them improve as the game went on. Ohio State kind of almost went the entire game with at least a 3/4 court press. And you saw as the game progressed that Nebraska got better at not only breaking the press, but getting straight into their offense. But as you said, it was still a struggle. And with how good this team is and the caliber of teams that they're going to face from here on out, they need to work on getting better at that because they have the shooters, they have the players to break the press and to get into their offense and make something happen. But the amount of time that they have to get into their offense is getting smaller and smaller.
Well, it just limits the number of run through sequences that they can go to. We know that 5 passes into this Nebraska offense, there's always an open 3, 6 passes. There's an open 3, 7 passes. There's a back cut layup or a post up. Mm-hmm. We know that. So now from the press break, they're only getting to sequence 3 or 4, and they're still decent shots in 3 or 4. Like in most offenses, they get the 3rd or 4th sequence, they're in a really good spot. Nebraska is usually in a pretty good spot because they'll shoot 45% from the field and 35 to 45 from 3. Well, tonight they shot 34%, 26%. And some of that's fatigue from having to press break.
Yeah.
Look, to run through again, you rest on offense in the Big Ten. You don't rest on defense. So having to have to play offensively 3/4 of the court instead of 1/3 of the court. Right? We watch the men. Sometimes the men don't have to, they're not even being defended until you get to below the arc. That's not what's happening to the women from Nebraska. They're being made work. It's affecting Sam's legs and Jazz legs. When you talk about the 2 days of bad shooting, those are tired legs. That's what happens. That's why you press break. That's why you pressure 3/4 court, full court. Mm-hmm. Fatigue and then taking people out of their normal sequence. Teams are doing that well. They've had some success. I'm not sure it'll play out that way for the rest of the season because at some point you reach a tolerance for it. Like their legs strengthen up.
You get a little used to it.
Yeah, you get a little used to it. And not everybody is going to choose to be physical. Now, I can tell you, Illinois, Michigan State knocked off Michigan tonight in a big one, right? Right? And you just go, wow, this is how this thing's done. Sometimes if you take people out of their tendons, you affect them in other ways than what you're trying to affect. So if I want to get Nebraska out of their offense, ultimately, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them weaker defensively because they're going to have to spend more energy in that and kind of processing that three-quarter court. So some adjustments need to be made. I have trust in that'll be done. But the numbers tonight, I mean, quick count, 27 shots between the big three guards, Scoggin, Shelley, and Hybe. They were 5 for 27.
Mm-hmm.
If you added
two
Bell
threes
Craven,
between the three of them.
right. They were 2 of 13 from 3. Right. It's en masse, right? That this thing affects in a way that you want it to affect. And and how it showed up on the defensive end for Nebraska was it was Ohio State who was 1, 2, 3 passes. Fourth pass was a 3.
Open shot.
Nebraska was a half step behind, and they looked like clear threes, right? The normal closeout efficiency of Nebraska, affected by the playing three-quarter court on offense and having to move around and be in spaces that you don't want to do. Also, depth of rotation, and then folks coming off the bench. They have to take what they learned sitting on the bench into the game, which is a big, huge thing. That, look, Kendall Coley comes off the bench. She knows her matchup. You can't give Mike Sell space at the top of the key. Like I'm literally going to, especially with Kendall's length, I'm going to force Mike Sell to I'm going to do what they do to us. I'm going to run her off the three. I'm going to use my length to challenge them into mid-range game, right? I want Mike Sell. Look, she was pretty good. I think she was 3 of 6 on that little running one-hander, that kind of teardrop.
Yeah, her little floater.
But that's where I wanted her, rather than her with her feet planted, knocking down threes. And
I will. I mean, in Kendall Coley's defense, I'm not thinking she's going to take that shot from the edge of the Ohio State logo. It was a couple steps back. I mean, she was feeling it. She was on fire. But at the same time, Kendall Coley's feet were on the three-point line.
Here's where this is. When Kendall gets in the game, Kendall needs to be 100% defense of energy. Get in her shirt and stay in her shirt. I don't need 10 trips up and down the floor from Kendall. I need 5. And in those 5, if Mike Sell goes to get popcorn, I need her with her. If she goes to the bathroom, I need her holding toilet paper. Like that's how. Like that's your mission. Yeah, that's your sole mission. So don't take it easy. Don't take it easy. Don't defend some of it. Her job is to defend all of it. And I think if you watch that last clip, you'll see the expression on her face was, "Oh boy," like she knew.
She knew.
Yeah, like she knew. Moriarty has to figure out that she has to play at her pace all the time off the bench. There's no chill. Yeah, that second group, you can't come in and chill. This is not.
You got to be a ball of energy.
Yeah, like this. Look, I need the phrase that I would use to my players is honor your minute. Honor your minute. So if you're on the floor, empty your tank. Like I don't need you coming to the bench all full of energy. I need you like limping and tired. Like if you get 8 minutes a game, don't give me 4 minutes. If I got you on the floor 8 minutes a game, I need for you to empty the tank for 8 minutes. And that's a thing that's learned from veteran play. But most of the folks coming off the bench aren't veterans.
True. It's a young team.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to learn what you're going to do. Like the final message of, especially for the back 6 or 7 players that get to come into the games. Here's what I need. Again, it's really cool to do the dance and to have the choreography, but I need for you to be watching and learning on the bench. So when I tap you to go into the game, it's Mike Sell, we want her at mid-range game, and we want her on the left side of the floor. Right? Like it's 2 things. What? Okay, can we handle those? I need them to draw theory out of the paint, so I can go by her. I need for Harris. Harris doesn't like the back down game, but she hates the run through game. So do the things that you need to do going to the bench, Don't go in and repeat what somebody else was doing. Go in with a little bit more information. So they'll be smarter. They're smarter right now than they were yesterday. So
quick little run through the stats again. Nebraska falls to number 21 Ohio State in Columbus, 80-70. Nebraska shot 33.8% from the field. Ohio State 46. Nebraska 26% from three, 14 of 15 from the free throw line. They out-rebounded Ohio State 48-34, including 21 offensive rebounds to Ohio State's 6. They just couldn't finish the layups after those. 13 assists for Nebraska, 2 steals, 4 blocks, but 16 turnovers and 19 fouls for the Huskers in this game against number 21 Ohio State. I'm Rico. That's DP. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll keep running through this game. We'll let you guys know what we thought and kind of look forward to what's going to happen next time.
Every time the back door closes, it squeaks and reminds me of how I used to go out back for a cigarette 2-3 times a day when I was stressed, when I was hungry, when I was bored. But then I think of how the stale taste lingered in my mouth, and I reach into my purse and pop a stick of gum. And the craving is gone.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers is all about the good and creating more of it. More drive-through celebrations, more weekend traditions, more family dinners and lunches, more car picnics and road trips, more desserts, maybe more second desserts. More celebrating being together as much as we can. There's always room for more good and more Freddy's. Keep the good going with a taste that brings you back.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300 or go to choicestreatmentcenter.com.
Now back to the Husker women's basketball postgame show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Welcome back in to the women's basketball postgame show right here on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Basketball postgame is brought to you by Action Plumbing. Don't forget, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit us up on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. You can also check us out on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Check us out there. You can leave a comment on any of those. We'll see it, and maybe we'll get to it. And actually, we have one on Facebook right now from Aaron North. Aaron says, "Man, no energy, nobody psyched up, no passion, not sure what's going on, still rooting for these amazing players." I don't know if I would agree with that. I feel as if they were excited, they were hyped up, they were ready to go. I mean, they had a 7-8 point lead in the first and the second quarter. It's just that Ohio State, who, again, as I said earlier, one of the hotter teams in the country, just went on a run, and they just out physicaled Nebraska, and it was a lot harder for Nebraska when they lost. I know it's great that they have Izzy Bourne and Bella Cravens to offset the loss of Alexis Markowski, but with how well she's been doing this season, even though she is a true freshman, took that starting role and how well she's been doing the last couple of games, losing her after you've been running your offense through her for quite a while took a toll on Nebraska, and they were trying to figure out what to do during that little stretch.
Yeah, I mean, rebounding is an energy deal. Again, understand that this team is going to rest on offense. So the defensive work, the work on the boards, was there. They created 13 turnovers, so there's some activity there. Oddly enough, a lot of those things were at the bottom of Nebraska's roster as far as folks with minutes. The too many turnovers. It was the thing. I mean, you can't have 16 turnovers.
No.
In a game that pace-wise was fitting them, they just, Ohio State, they were 9 of 21 from three. Actually, at some point, they were 9 of 18.
It seems as if they were 21 of 40 from three.
Yeah, there's just a ton of work, and then Ohio State was exceptional at the free throw. I mean, they were 19 of 20. They had 23 free throw attempts. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that bulk of fouls, 19 personal fouls by the Huskers. That's too much. That's
way too
many. But the thing that happens is if you are a physical team and a team tries to get physical with you, it looks uncomfortable and fouls are blown. Like if it's what you do on a day-to-day basis, the phrase that's used is comfortable movement. So Ohio State looked very comfortable in their movement against friction. Nebraska hasn't mastered the look of playing physical basketball and being comfortable doing it. like Markowski that fit for her, right? Sam's a very physical defender. Jazz is physical.
Oh, yeah.
But it looks different, especially on the road, right? They're not going to get calls on the road that they get at PBA.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, they've played, I want to say they've played 18 games already at home. Like this is game number 8 or 9 on the road. So they're just they're learning how to travel. They're learning how to recover. They're learning how to prepare on the road. Remember, some of these girls were in high school last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy important. It's one thing to be playing at Pius X, but then you're playing at College Park, or you're playing in Columbus, Ohio.
It's different to play in Lincoln, play at Pius, and then go down the road and play at Lincoln East than it is to play in Lincoln at Nebraska and then go to Maryland, College Park, and then go to Columbus, Ohio. Like,
and not have adults in place whose job is to sit with you at home. You're in a hotel and you got to manage your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like learning how to actually travel. Like if this is the flight, preparing yourself. How are you? Not everybody flies the same way. That all of those things take effect, and then you're out of your food comfort, right? Because Nebraska gives them, meal plans like nobody else. You go on the road, you don't know it's not always going to be as simple as that. So they're learning. I'm not bothered. This is an 18-4 Ohio State team.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is 18-4. Yeah, and you're finding out things about the program. Now, Nebraska's 17-6. Right? There's nothing wrong that a win won't cure. And you've got an Illinois team coming up that you match up very well with, a team who's struggled, who's on a losing streak. Right? Now, you're going on the road, and I would circle this game in big red ink because a year ago, the Illinois game might get away from them.
Mm-hmm.
This will tell us how much of an emotional investment to make. Because if they bounce back and get the win and cover some of the things we've talked about, right? So we'll pay attention to shooting. We'll pay attention to three-point shooting. Because on the road, it's different than shooting at PVA. It's different. There's different backdrops, different spacing, all of that stuff in place. We'll pay attention to the free throws. Well, look, rebounding travel. So we have that. We know that's pretty good. And in truth, they did a pretty good job defending, except in closing out the three.
Mm-hmm. And that was only really, they did most, if not all of their they didn't hit a three in the fourth quarter, I don't believe. They did most
threes that should have been more highly contested. When you talk about a game like this, a Big Ten game against a like opponent, so you're not playing down or you're not playing up, you're playing at your level, that the things the boxes that coaches and players are concerned with are how many easy looks am I giving them at home? And of the 6 that I can circle right away in my memory, 5 of those they hit threes. That's 15 points, and that's a game changer. If they go 3 of 6 in those, you got a ball game. And because the rebounding edge was purely Nebraska, missed shots become opportunities for Nebraska. So a lot of this stuff in place. And again, Nebraska led for almost 12 minutes of the game. So they had their advantage. They had their time. Ohio State was better with ball movement tonight, which is odd because of the 3 guards that Nebraska keeps on the floor. That's why you have 3 guards and spacing. Mm-hmm. But they had focused the offensive intention and game plan and focus in the paint, and it was working.
Ohio State made it their mission to get Nebraska uncomfortable on the defensive end with a lot of I don't know. I'm not going to say that they move without the ball more than anybody else, but it seemed as if there was like 3-5 screens on every single Ohio State half court plays. Like Every
Well, they
single
did-
time Ohio State brought it across the timeline, it seemed as if somebody from Nebraska was getting screened along the baseline, somebody was getting screened up top, and somebody just nowhere near the ball. Like it was not only physical, but just a lot more movement from Ohio State.
Well, that's what Nebraska does to teams, and that coaching adage is that whatever it is that you do, you don't like being done to you. So if you are a space offense, you hate being spread out because you understand how much work is involved. If you are a perimeter offense, you hate when teams run that against you. Yes, you're familiar with it, but it takes you to task, and you understand how effective you have to be. Pressure teams. Look. If I was the next thing that has to happen for Nebraska is you don't like being pressured, then you might need to put some pressure on those three guards just to see what that is. Nebraska doesn't do that much.
No.
Like they fall back into their defense and allow people that additional 30 feet of calm, whereas Nebraska has chaos for 60 feet. It wears on you. It wears on you, especially on the road. It wears on you. And the numbers are there. Look, 21 offensive rebounds. That's an energy thing. And I'm a little surprised that they didn't go with Bella Cravens more. She gave
Bella,
me
I don't know. I don't know if you've noticed, and maybe it's just the times that I've kind of paid more attention to it. But Bella seems to be in a little bit of a funk when she gets the ball underneath. It seems as if teams have kind of figured it out. She tries to go to her drop step, kind of turn back away, and teams are waiting for her, and they're stripping the ball away from her a lot more than they were earlier in the season.
Well, she had 2 turnovers, and again, if you look at the back end of this team, so Scoggin had 1 turnover, 3 for Jess Shelley, 3 for Sam Hobby. That's under a lot of usage. That's a lot of ball time in hand. Markowski with 3 turnovers, usually in the paint, trying to make something happen within traffic, right? So again, 17 shot attempts, 3 turnovers. I'm not angry.
Terrible. No, that's fine.
But Sam Hybe giving you 2 points and 3 turnovers. Look, that's a night, right? That is a full night. And another thing to pay attention, Sam only played 21 minutes.
And it's not like she was in foul trouble. She had 2 fouls.
Right. So again, right, sometimes, I mean, I'll ask the question. You gave Allison Widener 21 minutes. You gave Sam Hybe 21 minutes in a brawl.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what that means or what that says, but that's something for us to kind of circle and put a question mark around is what's happening there. Cravens gave you 18 minutes. Porter gave you 9 minutes. Brown gave you a minute. 5 minutes from Moriarty. 7 from Coley. And then at the bottom of those folks who were only playing half a minute or a third of the minutes, you had 5 turnovers in a collective of minutes that look, I'm putting you in the game and we're being pressured. You should know what they're going to do by the time you hit the scores table.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that will be learned in greater levels going forward. I think they'll be fine in it. Look, this is a team that legitimately has a shot to do some damage in the Big Ten tournament, and then they can use all of this to fix what appears to be an NCAA tournament season.
And I think it still is.
Oh, look, 17-6. You're 17-6.
Weirder things have happened.
Yeah, I mean, within the program, like at this point here in Nebraska, we don't assume anything, right? Nothing is assumed.
From an NCAA tournament team to a 1 seed in the women's NIT.
Like we,
like it's weird. It's weird. There's 99.999% sure they make the NCAA tournament, but weirder things have happened.
They make the tournament. The index is really high. The index is still around 20.
Yeah, I think in the net they're still in the top 15.
Yeah, I would say somewhere that I would expect them, if the season ended now, to be a 6 or 7. Only because so many of the other tournament teams are doing well in their conference. Nebraska has to be a little bit weary of its conference record. Keeping that above 500 the rest of the way is important. And if they do that, if they're 500 in the Big Ten, they are a 5 or 6 seed. Yeah, they're 5 or 6 seed. And again, the numbers are in play. You got 12 from Izzy Bourne, 12 and 6 from Izzy Bourne in 31 minutes. I thought she played well. Actually, I think she had one of her better defensive nights, although they just rubbed her a lot. Like, she took a lot. Allison Widener with 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 personal fouls. Curious to see what the place is. I mean, that's shared minutes with Sam Hyvee. That's such a huge statement that I am going to look and see what Amy Williams said in the postgame.
That is something to look forward to in the next game, and like you said, in the post-game presser to see what Amy Williams has to say, because I'm hoping somebody asked her about that. That seems like something you would want to find out. That's DP. I'm Rico. This is the Women's Basketball Post-Game Show. We'll get to you on the other side of the break.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Pork tacos, chicken tacos. You hungry yet? I can keep going. Pork or chicken, queso nachos, queso mac and cheese, match mac burritos. Now you're salivating. Muchachos is Lincoln's premier New Mexico barbecue fusion restaurant. You can't miss them in their bright blue building. Pair that great food with delicious coffee for breakfast and a variety of local and national beers on tap the rest of the day. Order your food online at yomuchacho.com or visit them in person at Muchachos on South 11th Street between L and K Streets.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns big or small in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop, but you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order online now from the new Wingstop located at 5001 O Street.
What does better service mean? At Allo, it means that you get the best fiber internet available at prices that work for you. Better service means installers who show up on time. Better service means no billing shenanigans. Better service means a real person answers the phone. If you're not paying for better service, what are you paying for? Get Allo. Get better service. Switch today at allofiber.com/better service.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Now back to the Husker women's basketball postgame show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Welcome back to the women's basketball postgame show right here on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Again, if you have any comments, concerns, Honda of Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685 as Nebraska falls to number 21 Ohio State in Columbus by the score of 80-70. They've got another game coming up in 2 days at Illinois, and 2 days after that, they welcome Indiana. Number 7, I believe, currently, Indiana, to PBA. They've got 3 games in 4-5 days in a tough Big Ten conference. That's a lot. That is a lot to ask.
Well, this is the job. Like,
you're not wrong, but still, that's
the job, Dad.
And I'm not making.
You got 2 kids. You understand? Look,
yeah,
this is the job, baby. Ain't no off days.
I'm not making any excuses, but you got number 21. You've got a rough and tough Illinois squad, and then you got number 7 Indiana in 4 days.
They don't care. Listen,
I know they're built for it.
It's one game at a time. Look, you're 17-6. You have a lot of answers. You have a lot of weapons and a lot of answers. Growth is required in order for you to be better than good. Right? They're just trying to figure out how to be better than good.
Yeah.
And at 17-6, the stretch is here. Like the work needs to be done. Now, mind you, Illinois is on a 5-game losing streak, I believe.
Something like that. Let me check this out.
Yeah, this is a 6-13 team. They've lost 5 in a row. Now they're 6-5 at home. They're 6-5 at home, but they're terrible on the road. But this is in Champaign. And the streak for them has been difficult because, as you talk about it, it's the Big Ten Conference. They lose to number 7. They get blown out by number 7 Indiana. They battle with Wisconsin. They get blown out by Iowa. They get blown out by Purdue. And they were choppy against Penn State. I remember watching that one. They did beat Wisconsin in the previous battle. But look, nothing happened tonight that you can't fix with proper rest routine and others. Great film study works. We know how much film study they put in. I would imagine that at Illinois is who they are. Mm-hmm. But if they have a press break in their luggage, you break that sucker out and see what kind of chaos you can cause against Nebraska. I'm not sure you have the roster to do it. And then if you're asking a bad team to do elite level things when they're not used to doing it, that could end up how you get blown out. But we'll pay attention to the combination of Jazz Shelley and Sam Hybe. How are they shooting from the field? What are their minutes? What's the rotation with Allison Widener and Moriarty? I was paying attention a little bit to what they were doing with Ashley. Markowski, how does she recharge and evolve? Because this is a big game for her, right? This is a big game for her. And then more finite definition of what the rotation is going to be going forward. Because you're not going to go into Big Ten tournament play with a 12-woman rotation. You're not going to do that. You'll narrow it down. Annika Stewart is somebody that I think you got to figure out how to get more from. Super talented. You got to figure out what to do there. Moriarty, Kendall Coley. Like, what are you going to do, Brown, Ruby Porter? Who makes the playing rotation going forward? Saturday will tell you a bunch. It's going to be
that's a lot of people that you can get in the game, and some people that unfortunately might not see the floor during Big Ten tournament play. But I was going to ask you, as a coach, you've got Sam Hybe, you've got Jazz Shelley, who are great players, great shooters. They've struggled the past 2 games. Is there do you just let them keep shooting, or is there something that you work on them with to maybe try and break them out of this slump?
No, I want them to shoot. I want them to shoot what they're comfortable shooting. The things that they've done the most with the most level of success throughout the course of their careers. And we're not talking about newbies to the game. They may be new to playing together, but not new to the game. Sam knows what Sam can do. As a matter of fact, it was fascinating because I kept expecting Sam to take over this offense in the second half, but 21 minutes. Like we saw Sam last year without the talent around her that she has this year, literally just take over the game and make plays. It didn't happen in the last 2 games.
No.
And the level of play has been elevated. Opponents are now more aware. Pay attention Saturday, man. Saturday will tell you a lot about the get right that we're looking for.
I mean, you've seen, like you said, you've seen Sam even a couple games ago where Nebraska needs a bucket, they get it to Sam. She drives to the basket, and to me, whenever she drives to the basket and throws something up, I just assume it's going in. Just that's how fantastic she's been.
Yeah, that's the deal. Is just let them continue to be them. Accept the growth. I mean, you got Whitney Brown some minutes, you got Kendall Cole some minutes. I think they'll be fine. Saturday's a big day.
We've got about 25 seconds right now. Nebraska fell to Ohio State today, 80-70. They've got a day off. They're probably headed to Champaign after post-game, rest up a little bit. They play Illinois on the 12th, then another day off for travel. They welcome Indiana to PBA on the 14th on Valentine's Day. I'm Rico. That's DP. This has been a wonderful women's basketball post-game show. I hope you guys have a wonderful night.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets